Hi, I'm Bingham.
Hello, I'm Brandon Bowler.
And this is our first YouTube video. Please like and subscribe. It's Bingham Bowler's first show. So introduce what we're going to do.
Basically, we each took 5 movies that we really love and we've decided to make a top 10 list.
You kick off or shall I?
Up to you.
You can.
Okay, my number 5 is Dirty Harry. Not much needs to be said about this film because it's quite popular, but I think some of you may not know what it is. It's basically kind of an old cop film starring Clint Eastwood before he was an old racist. And another interesting fact is it's got John Vernon in it, and he was, for fans of Animal House, he was Dean Wormer. In other words, he was the guy who kept going, Animal House! Pretty cool. He was also in a film called Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is awesome, but not on this list. Basically, Dirty Harry is a cop who plays by his own rules, but I think he was the first one to do this, so it wasn't that much of a cliche back then. And I'm not going to reveal anything because it's a really good plot and it keeps you really interested throughout the whole film. So just watch it, really, because I give it 4.5 stars out of 5.
Well, my number 5 is, of course, Little Nicky. Words cannot describe it. It's one of Adam Sandler's, one of his good movies, because you dare. Adam Sandler is my most favourite actor ever, but someone disagrees.
In recent years, Little Nicky's amazing. And, interesting side note, it's got Quentin Tarantino in it.
And, of course, it's got the Henry Winkler that gets covered in bees.
Hey!
So yeah, I give it a 5 out of 5 because it's just a great laugh and you have to see it before you die. So, what's your number 4?
This film, I think about 20% of you will know, if that. And this film is amazing. It is called Zardos. And if you haven't seen it, it is an hour and a half to 2 hours of just complete mind-blowing, I wish I could sum up the plot to you, but there isn't one. It's just Sean Connery, yes, Sean Connery, wearing what can only be described as a red mankini.
Don't
like I
forget
said.
the wedding dress.
Oh, and a wedding dress. Look out for Sean in a wedding dress, because who doesn't want to see Sean Connery in a wedding dress? The moustache alone that he sports throughout this movie is worth watching. Basically, it's set in the future at some point, and that's as much of the plot as I could decipher, really. It is just... Don't think I'm ripping on this film. It may not have a plot that is coherent, but it is amazing and it will change your life forever. It's basically got a giant stone floating head called Zardos, who tells this, I'm assuming it's a tribe of some sort from the future, that the gun is good and the penis is evil. If that alone doesn't get you, this video's not for you.
Well, my number 4, some of you may have seen it, but it's sort of my generation, or our generation. It's Thomas the Tank Engine and the Magic Railroad. Yes, it's not your typical adult film, but if you've grown up with Thomas the Tank Engine, you have to... It's got Alec Baldwin in it.
Even if you haven't grown up with Thomas the Tank Engine, this movie is, even by kids' movie standards, it's pretty incredible.
There's just something about it that you just think, wow, it's Thomas the Tank Engine, and you just think, I could watch that my whole life.
Plus, the main villain in it is called Diesel 10, and he is alone one of the best characters in the movie.
It gets pretty dark at points for a kids' film.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ruin it for you, but it gets pretty dark. But one of the main little girls in it is actually the girl who played Matilda. I cannot remember her name for my life, but it has Matilda in it. So, what more could you ask?
Watch it.
Number 3.
My number 3 is, and everyone's gonna sigh and say, oh my god, of course they put this movie on the list, but come on, if I didn't, you'd be moaning. So, The Green Mile. What needs to be said about The Green Mile? Everybody's seen it, and if you haven't, you are living under a rock, my friend. You have absolutely no comprehension of modern times whatsoever. It's got Tom Hanks and Michael Clarke Duncan in it, and that alone makes it just incredible. The two actors have quite a good chemistry, and it's a Stephen King story. That, you know, might just be me being in love with Stephen King like a schoolgirl, but it's amazing. That's all.
Right, my number 3, again with the children's film, I'm quite a child at heart, is Frozen. It's a new film, it's basically, it gives you a true story. She tells you that even though you've just met a man, you cannot marry them in a Disney film. It's just wrong. Yeah, we got engaged about 4 months into our relationship, but we're on a year now, so it's fairly safe.
Yeah, it kind of smoothed out.
Basically, it's got more than a few characters, but it's got some characters that I cannot say the names of for my life. I'm going to have a go. I've had to write them down here because I have no clue. It's like Inya Menzel. So yeah, good on you, Inya. Kristen Bell, she is actually a really good singer because she sings "Love Is an Open Door." But obviously, Inya gets the best song of the thing, "Let It Go."
Let it go, let it go.
So yeah, and then
If you haven't heard that, then where have you been?
Where have you been? Yeah, so and it's got Jonathan Groff in it, which is the Christoph. Everyone fancies him. And someone at our college called Bevan looks exactly like him, so you might like him. So yeah, number 2.
Deuce. This kind of cheats because it is 3 films, but however the books that it was based on are all one, they're just in 3 different volumes.
And they were all filmed at the same time.
They were filmed over 2 years, I think, in New Zealand. So you should already know what it is, but of course, it's Lord of the Rings. They are breathtaking. The scenery and effects alone, except for that one scene in the first one that looks like it was done on Microsoft Paint. Watch it and you'll know what I mean. It's naff compared to the rest of it, but don't let that detract. It is a great film, great trilogy. It's easily my favourite trilogy of all time. The reason it doesn't get number 1 is because there is only one movie I love more than them. And if you don't know the plot, it's just a journey really to this evil place.
Basically, it's a bunch of little people like me.
Frodo and Sam, who are hobbits, have to take this magical ring of power to this place called Mordor, where basically everything in Middle-earth, which is where they live, evil in Middle-earth is in Mordor, and including the giant warlord Sauron, the Eye of Sauron anyways. Long story, but they have to destroy the ring to kill Sauron because he created it and is linked to it. His life essence is linked to the ring, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, it don't make you cry at all at the end.
She cried after all 3 of them.
I get emotional. They were very emotional.
Okay, how about you? Number 2.
Well, Shallow Hal. If you haven't heard of this, just please go watch it. It's such a laugh. And if you don't get this reference, yeah, you need to watch it. Shallow Hal Wants a Gal. Basically, it is a film with Jack Black, the most awesome person in the world. Well, yeah, basically, that's all you need to say. It's got Jack Black in. Everything that Jack Black has done is fantastic.
Except for that one movie, but let's not delve into that.
Well, it's got Gwyneth Paltrow as the main woman in it. Yeah, basically, he doesn't appreciate women, so basically he looks for thin girls everywhere.
Basically, he's shallow.
So basically, someone put like a curse sort of thing on him. It's not one of them films where you think, oh, curse. It's basically, if he says Shallow Hal Wants a Gal, he basically sees this thin woman in a restaurant, but in reality, she is massive. And I mean massive. If you've seen Norbit, she's bigger than Rasfutia. Nah, that's massive. And basically, he falls in love with her and everything keeps going wrong, and chairs break, and he's wondering why, because she's, in his head, she is like...
Hourglass.
If she turned to the side, you couldn't see her. So basically, yeah...
Open window.
By the end, someone tells him it is a trick, and if you say this one word, you will see her for who she is. So he says it and sees her for who she is, and I'm not gonna, well, I've obviously told you the story, but shut up. Amazing, and I love it, and Jack Black, oh, this is number 1.
A film that I fell in love with as soon as I watched it. It's not for everybody, but most people.
It took me a lot of persuading to watch this film because it looked crap.
It's not though, don't worry. It's fairly long, but not too long, and you may have to watch it a few times to really get it, and even then, a lot of it is open to interpretation because it is a Stanley Kubrick film. It is 2001: A Space Odyssey. The story spans billions of years. It starts off in Africa at the dawn of man. And there are these apes who are strictly vegetarian. They're surrounded by animals that they could eat, but they don't know that they can eat them. So they're pretty much going extinct. And one day they wake up and there's this huge black monolith in front of them. And
a monolith is just a black...
looks a bit like an iPhone, but massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when they touch it, they suddenly figure everything out, sort of thing. It helps kickstart our evolution as a species.
And my number 1 is, not many people may know it, but you actually might. It's a film called Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story. This film brought us to talk to each other nearly on the first day of college. Basically, it is about a little boy who was playing with his brother. His brother, basically, they play with machetes, and his brother gets chopped in half.
That's not quite as bad as you'd think.
No, so his brother tells him to get on with his life and do the best they can. So he becomes a musician, and
of course,
yeah, that's how you get on in life.
It's a Walk the Line parody.
Yeah,
except
basically.
It's probably better than Walk the Line, in my opinion. Love them both.
Yeah. So basically, it's got John C. Reilly in it, and he basically, at the start, he gets heard by these Jewish sort of record label people.
Proper stereotypical Jews.
Hats, beards.
The sugar. That kind of Jew.
So basically, yeah, they hear him, take him into the studio, he sings a song and he's like, oh, no, and then he says, give me 30 seconds and I'll blow your mind, and he plays this song called Walk Hard, and I've got Walk Hard tattooed on my feet because I love this. But basically, the whole world hears it in, literally, it's not possible.
25 seconds ago.
Yes. And it's just, he just becomes a massive star, but it shows you how being famous can rip you down and take you to drug habits and everything. So if you're a musician like me and him, good luck.
It's got quite a lot of great actors in it as well. It's got Jenna Fisher, Pam.
From The Office.
Pam. It's got Craig Robinson, also from The Office, but from a host of other things, and he's one of my favourite actors.
Take your panties off. Basically, it's got Tim Meadows in, and he is from Mean Girls. If anybody doesn't know, he's the head of the school. Well, I think he's the head of the school in Mean
I haven't
Girls.
seen Mean Girls in a while. Correct us in the comments. Who else has it got in it? There's that one person I'm forgetting.
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
How could you forget
Hill in
Jonah
it.
Hill?
Jonah Hill.
He's the brother. He basically comes back as a ghost when Dewey's on stage running at Dewey, because he's in like rehab and saying, "Oh, my life's terrible." And ever tried to masturbate with a ghost hand? Nothing.
Oh, it's got. Keep your eyes open because it's got a lot of amazing cameos in it that you might miss, but you won't miss Jack Black.
So yeah, that was our, well, let's say top 10 movies to see before you die. Well, our edition really.
Yeah,
And
there's
if
a
you're
lot.
wondering what that spike thing is, it's not my hair, it's a helmet.
Like and subscribe, and if you liked us, leave a comment. Let us know how we did and what we can improve on.
Basically, give us suggestions in what to do with videos. I'm going to give a shout out to this man because recently he talked to me on Instagram and I just got all giddy. His name is Matt Santoro, and he basically makes YouTube videos like this, and he does like top 10 things or inventors who have killed themselves. He is awesome and he's so funny. We watch him all day.
And he's Canadian.
Thank you if you have watched this video. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you whenever.